Welcome to episode 310, Gianni Agnelli, icon of Italy's prosperity, 1921 to 2003. This is an outline of episode 310. Why do we study Gianni Agnelli? Actually, he's not a self-made billionaire, because my friend Burning My Leather recommended him. Let us meet Gianni Agnelli.
The more you hit them, the more they jump back up.
The family of Fiat, icons of national prosperity, the Agnellis of Italy.
You couldn't really miss Gianni Agnelli.
He was involved with everything Italians love: sex, cars, and sports. Every woman was in love with him. Every man wanted to be him.
Not me. I don't want to be Agnelli. I spent many years washing dishes and working at 7-Eleven. The grandfather, Giovanni Agnelli.
The Fiat empire began in 1899 with a 32-year-old cavalry officer named Giovanni Agnelli. His family were wealthy landowners in Villar Perosa near Turin.
Then he got tired of military life and decided to jump into the pioneering venture of the automobile industry.
Agnelli and a group of investors pooled their funds and signed this document to launch a car factory 4 years before Henry Ford started his plant.
They started what was called Fabbrica Italiana dei Automobili Torino, F-I-A-T, Fiat.
Agnelli quickly became the manager, then the controlling partner of the factory. From the very beginning, Fiat grew rapidly, benefiting from Agnelli's friendship with Giovanni Giolitti, a liberal prime minister of Italy, whose policies encouraged industrial development.
Gianni Agnelli was born in Turin in 1921, 32 years after his grandfather founded Fiat.
Fiat was the overwhelmingly dominant force in the automobile industry, and as a result, like Henry Ford, the Agnelli family made huge amounts of money.
In 1935, the eldest son, Edoardo Agnelli, died after a plane crash, leaving a 14-year-old Gianni Agnelli as the next heir to Fiat.
He wasn't much of a student, preferring to get his education from experience rather than books. When he finished high school, his grandfather sent him to tour the United States.
He came to America as a guest of the Rockefeller family, and he went.
By 1940, Gianni Agnelli was a law student at Turin University, an experience that earned him the nickname L'Avvocato, the lawyer.
Our grandfather, Giovanni Agnelli, died almost immediately after World War II.
But then, to the Agnelli shock, the post-war government of Italy forced old Giovanni to leave Fiat because of his association with Mussolini. Fiat, this was a new, unprecedented crisis.
Who had to manage Fiat? Gianni was too young. He was 24. He had no experience of business, and he couldn't lead a big company like Fiat. So there was just a possibility to run Fiat.
Told him in 1945 that things had been so difficult and so terrible during World War II, particularly toward the end, that now that the war was over, Gianni ought to enjoy himself and have some fun. So he gave him this allowance of $1 million a year and said, go forth and have fun.
Gianni took his grandfather at his word, gambling until dawn at Monte Carlo, sailing yachts, and partying with the rich and glamorous. His companions were the legendary Playboys of the 50s and 60s. Ali Khan, Porfirio Rubirosa, Errol Flynn, and Prince Renier of Monaco. And on his arm and in his bed were the world's most beautiful women.
He slept with.
Finally, in 1996, at the age of 45, he became the chairman of FIAT after spending 20 years as the Playboy of Europe. Gianni Agnelli was widely successful during his 30 years at the helm of FIAT.
If you want to know about Italy, the best person to go and see is a man who owns 25% of all companies quoted on the Italian stock exchange. He owns Juventus Football Club. He owns a couple of big papers out here. He owns Sestriere Ski Resort, and on top of all that, he owns, and I mean he privately owns, Fiat, Lancia, Alfa Romeo, Maserati and Ferrari. If you want to know about Italy, get suited up and go and see Giovanni Agnelli. In the world, there's what, 5 supercar manufacturers in total, and yet in Italy, in one town, in fact, in Modena, there are 3. What is it about Modena?
Well, I must say Modena has always been a place where we've got mania for mechanics. And we've got tractor factories there, we've got the Ferrari factory, earth-moving machinery factory. But everybody's a mechanic. Everybody, they tell you what an engine is when a motorbike passes. I mean, they've been brought up and trained on the noise of engines, and they love it, and they're very good engineer, mechanical workmen.
You're not joking.
Now, near his 80s, the old Gianni Agnelli still went to soccer games and hang out with global figures like Henry Kissinger.
Kissinger ad appassionarsi al football, come diceva con un vezzo elegante, e magari a mangiare un panino prima di una partita agli europei. Gli piaceva andare agli allenamenti, parlare negli spogliatoi con I giocatori.
In 2003, Gianni Agnelli died at the age of 81 because of prostate cancer. What have I learned today? Life is not fair. The race to wealth is like the race of a marathon. Some, like Agnelli, started the race at 13 miles and won. For most of us, we will have to start at mile 0. Fortunately, 70% of the billionaires in the world are self-made, so everyone got a chance. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.